Welcome back to another episode of Eyes On, our podcast where we dive into the backstories of some of the working people in Hollywood who keep the lights on and keep the sound going. Today we have a very interesting interview. Someone who I actually haven't met yet.
That's right.
Tell us about her, Tanner.
Hannah Driscoll. She is a script supervisor. She's worked on shows Hulu's Pen 15, you might recognize. HBO's The Curse. She just did Friendship, and then she's currently on St. Denis Medical. She's just a really great person. It's going to be a really fun interview. I'm really excited to have Eyes On Hannah Driscoll.
So, speaking to John and Marianne and to Ginny and Dave, which are my parents and Tanner's parents in Colorado and in Oregon, tell us, what does a script supervisor do?
Oh, sure. Okay.
Because our parents are the only listeners
glad you were so willing to do that.
know that we have.
Oh,
but
is that what you want to talk to me about?
It's so funny.
I'm prepared.
Well, I mean, you guys know this as filmmakers. You're asked about what you do all the time.
Yeah.
From
Yes.
everybody.
Especially as producers.
Yes.
Well, and we don't have a good answer. Like,
Yeah. I mean, I can boilerplate it,
changes.
kind of. My usual answer is I make sure that all of the continuity of shot out of order will cut in post. So I'm the liaison from production to post, and I make sure that I'm the safety net for each department and everything goes according to plan, like the script or the storyboards. And I'm also there to kind of just keep the ship going in general so that when post gets all of the footage, everything is usable and everything will cut, even though we shoot everything out of order, I guess.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's pretty concise.
So, like, what hand an actor is holding a cup with,
Exactly.
or where they set something down, or things like that.
Yeah.
All of that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
How do you keep track of all of that?
Okay, so I have a system that is the most important continuity. Not that there's more important than others, but like dialogue to me is the most important, and script is in my title, so that's the one I'm looking at the most. And then I go on to match action, props, something that's in the scene that I know I need to red flag with the dialogue. And then I'll go from there and say there's a hair that's off one shoulder and it comes back, I'll make sure that's in the moment. I'm also going to make sure if there's a lighting cue, I mark that. So it kind of starts right at the top with dialogue. That's always the consistent one. And then I'll go through each scene and I'll flag all of the other continuity things I think are there.
Yeah.
And then I load it into my brain and then I just watch as much as I can all at once, all images, all monitors.
So you can never space out.
No, but I
can
have really good
never-
hyperfocus. Like,
Okay.
I'm pretty good about, I'll just get into the flow state of it. And I really enjoy focusing on this one task of watching the monitor. And I'm always scanning. If you were to look at me looking at a screen, I'm always kind of looking at everything all at once. Yeah.
almost like a photographic memory. You're like, okay, that was there, that was there.
Yes.
So as I understand, you're on hiatus, but you're about to start back up again.
Yes. Starting on Friday with St. Denis Medical Season 2.
So
I don't know St. Denis Medical. Tell me about the show.
Oh, sure. It's a half-hour comedy shot by the same people who created Superstore, and it's shot in the style of The Office, but it's in the setting of a hospital. So it's an ensemble cast with the snap zooms that you're all familiar with and the whip pans around, which is very fun as a script supervisor.
Yeah. Now, I imagine a show like St. Denis Medical, it's comedy. There's got to be some moments of improv that happen.
Yes.
And you go way off what was scripted. How do you reconcile all that?
I'm live typing all the ad-libs at the same time.
Oh.
So
You're
I
writing
usually,
what they're saying.
Yes. Yeah. So I probably look like a psycho whenever there's a scene, but I like running lines with the actors to start to memorize lines with them. And then I have my script on the right side of my computer frame, and then I have all my monitors on the left. And I'm typing in, like I'm saying the lines with the actors, like mouthing them, I guess. And then if it's wrong or different or ad-libbed, I'll type in the joke along with it. But it's all there. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of like that's what I look like.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Meaning you're reading it as they're saying it to make sure nothing changes.
Yeah, I'm halfway reading, and since I've ran lines with them, I have it partially memorized, and then I'm watching the monitors and I'm scanning all the cameras.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's
Yeah.
too many things going on at once.
It's a
You
lot.
only have two eyeballs.
Yeah. That's why I
And
take
if it's a multicam,
yeah, so
how many cameras did they run on
two,
St. Denis?
usually two. American Auto had 3. It's a lot. It's a lot. Take one is always a lot. But you know that with take one, the actors are probably going to be closer to the script because it's also their first take.
Yeah.
So, and also if I pay attention to dialogue on the first take, then I know what to expect on the next one, and I can listen to the dialogue and then look at all the other things. Like, okay, they picked up this clipboard with their left hand and they're turning counterclockwise when they exit, and their pen is in their right hand, and they're going to write something down here. They're tucking this with the label, facing out. There's stuff that I'm just saying in my brain that I'm remembering, and it'll all kind of come back at cut.
Wow.
Looking back on childhood, Hannah,
Yes.
is there anything in your life you look back and you're like, yes, this was always the perfect job for me?
It's so funny you say that, because I have recently thought about that. I'm like, why does my brain work like this? Because it just does.
Yeah, not everyone's does. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess this role it fits really well. Okay, so part of it I think is because when my parents divorced, we split time back and forth. So I would always pack a bag with all of my essentials, and I would always have to remember where they were. And then also house rules were different. So I'm remembering 2 separate rules and 2 separate schedules. And it just became this, separation in my brain of like, okay, on Tuesdays I do this, on Wednesdays I do this. And I just could hold it. So I think maybe that trained my brain a little bit.
Yeah.
Also,
you're creating a continuity for your different locations.
Yes.
Literally, yeah.
Yes.
It's so funny. And then, you add in part-time jobs and schedule with that and sports and all that stuff.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay. And then also I have synesthesia. So I see numbers and letters in color. So
What?
yeah.
No, that's a thing.
Yeah, technically it's a crossing of senses. So some people will hear music and they'll taste something, or the most common one is what I have. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought
And
everyone had
you
this.
Tell me, I am very interested.
Hold on.
Okay.
You'll read something and it will be a color.
It's more like remembering, like, so the hardest thing for me to do is math, because I know when I'm looking at it, it's black type on a white background, but I see numbers in color so vividly that I have to convert everything to black and white, do the math, and then convert it back into its new color.
But how do you convert things to black and white if you see it in color all the time? Like, what is that?
You just have to tell yourself it's black and white when you do the math.
Otherwise, what?
It takes so
the print
long.
is popping off the page as
It just
beams of light in color?
no, it's just like in your mind's eye. Like, I know 4s are purple, but I have to turn it.
Okay, so that's my next question.
Yes.
So it's consistent.
Always consistent. Yeah.
Really?
So like that's why I'm really good at page math, because everything is
Well,
an
I was going to say that. I was going to say everything's an eighth of a page. So
Yeah.
you are doing.
It's all yellow.
It's all yellow.
It's so easy.
That I've
Yeah.
never heard that.
Yeah.
What's it called again?
Synesthesia.
Synesthesia.
Okay, I didn't know I had it until pretty
Yeah,
recently.
how do you test for that?
Well, I probably somehow with your daughter's grade,
Okay,
but
so-
not in my
sorry,
grade.
real quick. Okay,
Yeah.
so orange.
Uh-huh.
Now, do you go, M? Like, do you, is it that direct correlation? You're like, that's the colors of my M's.
No, I never look at a color and think of M's are green. But yeah,
So
retrofit's red.
but it might not.
Retrofit is red.
It might not technically be a color then, really. It's just
Yeah, that
something
doesn't
else that
cue
your
it.
brain is telling you, but it comes across to you as colors?
Yeah, it's like so everybody's name has their first letter has the predominant color. And so I could go through the whole alphabet, but your name and how you spell it make your color. That's why I always, to memorize people's names, I need to look at the call sheet and I need to look at how people spell their name.
Huh.
Because so my partner's sister's name is Kaylee, but she spells it with a C. And C's are like a bluish color, but it like Kaylee is a lighter sky blue compared to your name.
Yeah.
No way.
What's Tanner?
He's more of like a midnight, but you have A, which is red, so it's a little confusing. But you're more of a darker, like you're more of a blue, you're more of a midnight blue, but you're more of a, like a not sky blue, but like a royal blue.
So
Yeah.
you're saying that when you read my name,
That's when I think of you and when I
those
read your name.
colors come.
That's why I can't use nicknames, because it's so hard for me to come up with a different. Oh, and military time, learning military time took forever.
That's tough for a lot of people too.
Yeah, because it's like 2 p.m., right?
Yeah.
That's green. But
Yeah.
then,
Once you start processing
but
payroll,
then
though,
the numbers are.
you need the
So
military
you
time.
start associating the color with the thing they are.
yes. So to get back to how this helps me, I number all of my dialogue. So I will say, okay, so say you miss line 4. I'll be like, oh, you miss purple.
Yep.
So I'll just remember the color, which takes longer to explain. But I'll remember all the colors of the miss lines or the ad-lib lines, and then I can just bank it And then once I hear cut, I'll do all of my things and I'll be like, oh, wait, there was a line that was wrong. What color is it? Boom.
But that seems like an extra layer.
Interesting.
It does, but it's so fast.
Harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just how you think.
Yeah.
It's how you process.
That's my process. Yeah.
That is nuts.
So
So how did you get diagnosed, or what
I don't
did you?
think that's what you should say.
diagnosed.
Nuts.
It is a little mind
You're
blowing,
not
I'll be
nuts.
honest.
I'm just like, that is a crazy thing. I've
what
never heard of that.
It is insane, and I had a hard time believing it. But it is also crazy to think that you guys don't think that way. I thought everybody thought this way.
It's so hard to imagine thinking a different way from
Yeah.
how you think.
Yes, like the
I
inner
would actually say
monologue.
virtually impossible to try to imagine. Yeah.
Like the whole, do you have an inner monologue, or are you, when you picture
It is
an
crazy
apple?
to me that some people don't. All I do is have an inner monologue.
Sometimes it's so loud.
Yes.
I can't even have the radio on. I'm like, turn it off.
competing with
Yeah.
my inner monologue.
Literally.
Well, it does for myself. It brings a lot of humility and sympathy, because I'm often very short with people that don't think the way I do. Like, they don't see it that way. I'm trying to explain. I was like, why is this or vice versa? And it's things like that that go, people think you have no idea how things are interpreted and
Yeah.
the things. So that's actually very cool.
Thanks.
And that's amazing.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird tool to have in your, toolbox for
Yeah.
script supervising, that I used to think, like, how can I use this, right? If this is how I'm already thinking. So a lot of the stuff that I learned in, film school in general, you're like, how do I use this? How do I make this unique? How do I make myself stand out when I'm getting hired?
Yeah.
So
Did you
put it on
always
your resume?
know?
Is that under special skills?
no, I don't put it on my resume.
You probably should.
Yeah.
I mean, well, how often do you use a resume?
I was gonna say I don't really use that
Never.
anymore.
Yes, it never happens.
Yeah.
Tell me about becoming a script supervisor.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah, you
when
went to
did you
film
know
school.
that you wanted to do that?
So I learned about it in film school, but
Which was where?
Long Beach State.
Long
Go
Are
Beach.
You, are you California?
Yes.
Are you, okay.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
you grew up here.
I grew up in Pismo Beach,
Yeah.
St. Louis Obispo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but
So my family's from
Which
LA.
I always think of Clueless.
Yes,
the Pismo
exactly.
Beach disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people lost everything. So my family's from LA.
and what made you want to go to film school?
Well, I was actually at school to be a journalist. I wanted to be a writer, and then
Communications. that was
yes,
always
yeah,
part of it.
journalism major. But so I do my freshman year, and then I go that summer to see Little Miss Sunshine that had just come out, and I'm like, oh my god, this movie changed my life. This is such a good movie, and I'm like, I wonder what about screenwriting? That's writing. Like, what if I pivot or in addition to? So I added on screenwriting as another major, and I did communications and film at the same time. And then we needed some on-set hours in film school, as most people do. And I picked script supervising because script was in the title. And I'm like, how hard could it be? Let's read a
doing
script.
that.
I'm doing it. Yeah. And I'm like, I get there and I'm like, this is so much work. But it totally made sense in my brain. And I did learn as I went, obviously. Sorry to all those first productions that I was. It was student films, but
Yeah, I wish I had a script supervisor on my student films.
there was the recession. I graduated right at the recession, right after the strikes.
Yeah.
So I remember I got one job, which was a feature, and they paid me $150 a day flat.
Whoa.
And it was like it was a boxing feature. It was really good. The director was very nice. And I remember enjoying my job a lot, but I could barely make rent.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was a waitress, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I gotta get up and do like a shift at work.
Wow.
I can't even afford this. And so, with the industry situation, I took the time off. And then 2015 was a really bad year for me. I lost everything. And so I don't know how much you guys want to know about that.
Whatever you were willing to share.
Okay.
Yeah.
My husband passed. So I obviously went through that process.
Yeah.
And through recovery and all that, I decided to move back to LA and go into a training program. So to be a script supervisor. And I found a really good program that not only were they training you so well that you gives you that confidence on set, but also they had the connections to kind of get your foot in the door, which is also really important. I think if you're going to go through a training program, you should pay for those connections too, because that's kind of what Hollywood's all about.
For sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yep.
So
And also during that time, is that when you started your John Wick podcast? Because we had talked about this on set, but during that time, you found something very cathartic in those films. Is that around the
Actually,
same time or later?
Yeah.
or-
So John Wick Chapter 1 is kind of the reason I stopped binge drinking and got into MMA. I was binge drinking every day, obviously in recovery and all that stuff, or not recovery, but you know what I mean? Like I didn't know what to do with myself. It was like whole life, your whole life is gone. So I was drinking every day. And then my brother-in-law was like, hey, you got to watch this movie. I think it's going to be a good thing for you. So I watched John Wick and I'm like, oh my God, take me to the UFC gym. Like I'm going to go. So I went every single day for 3 to 5 hours a day. I was ripped. I was just punching bags.
I didn't know you had done that too.
Yeah. And that's why I am so obsessed with John Wick, is because it pulled me out of that hole and it gave me a reason to get up in the morning and gave me a reason not to drink. And it gave me it kind of rekindled that love of cinema for me.
By the way, how is the continuity in John Wick? Is it shit or is it good?
So John Wick 2 is really bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
Not a bad movie, but
not a
bad
movie.
continuity.
I would guess that the pressure of living up to John Wick 1 caused a whole bunch of rewrites and this and that.
I agree.
Yeah. Because Tara and I have worked on some big movies.
Yeah.
And they are shot in such a way that they don't necessarily know what they're going to be shooting later. So that's why the continuity doesn't work on those really, really big movies. Because they're constantly second guessing themselves.
Oh my God. And I've done the cleanup crew on Marvel movies like that before, where the eye line's all off.
Yeah.
Because they're doing it that way. So Ant-Man.
They're shooting the reverse months after the fact.
Exactly.
So it's like, no shit.
And I'm just like, oh my goodness. Like, and it's so hard to get that edited footage, you know? And I'm like looking at it and I'm like, how did you guys mess this up? And I'm like, oh, now it makes sense putting those pieces together because you're figuring it out as you go. So it was a learning curve. Yeah.
And so speaking of Ant-Man, you worked with Paul Rudd in, because I know you weren't supervisor on Ant-Man, but you were doing after the fact.
Yeah, that was all inserts.
Yeah.
Those remotes, I did all those remote inserts.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I know we all saw that.
We all were like honed right in on that.
Like,
whoa, look at that.
Look at that button push. Actually, it was kind of annoying because you had to figure out which hand the remote was in and then those inserts. And so
sometimes the minutia is where you die.
Oh my
That's the worst. Like we just need to blow right past it.
I don't know if people realize it's usually not the actor's hand. When you see a close up of a phone, of a remote,
the amount of times it's been my hand.
Yeah, well, it's usually either the DP or the Chris. It's Chris.
I have a story. I have a story about that.
Tell us your hands.
Yeah, so we were on Mission Impossible 2, and there was a car chase
Tell them
scene
whose
between.
hands you were.
Yeah, and so they were
Not
like,
Tom Cruise's.
"Well, you just ruined the punchline." Oh my god!
Start your story over. We'll edit all of it out.
Oh my god!
jump to
the worst. Anyway, they're like, "You have the perfect hands," and I was like, "What?"
Nice
They're like, "Well, they're gonna do an insert on the racing of like the gear shift."
Exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. And I was like, "Oh my god, I have Tom Cruise's hands." They're like, "No, you have Tandy Newton's hands." They said Tandy back then, but now it's Tandiwa, I think. But yeah, they say you have Tandy Newton's hands. I was like, "Oh, okay." And they wanted to do a whole thing, and I had to get a manicure and everything. Never got shot.
Are you serious?
No, because I was assistant to the producer, and then I had to go. So that's what happens when you try to pick people off the crew that actually have other jobs
when
to
they have
do,
a job,
and then they had to get a hand double.
That's so hard with action movies and stuff like that. And I always suggest, hey, if my hands match, I know the continuity. So
it's true.
Let me do that.
Yeah.
I mean, you do have to cut around a couple of tattoos, but if it's really close, you know.
Yeah, we can do it.
Yeah,
we can do it.
That's amazing. I love that. Oh, also recently, this is so random, but I did realize I can memorize stories really quickly. So I'll read a script probably twice and know the whole story. I'll watch a movie once and I can walk you through the whole thing.
Interesting.
But that's really great because very
Would
few.
you like to do coverage for us? Because we
Sure.
Yeah. But I mean, I think most people maybe don't realize, but like so many crew don't even read the script. I mean, they show up, and if you're a gaffer or whatever, you're gonna do what some people tell you to do, but you don't really need to know the story.
Yeah, I mean, the gaffer's there reading the gaffer will know the story, but his team probably
No.
They're like, oh, they don't need to. You know, they need to know the lighting cue. So like, I think that it is kind of interesting to which department heads, you know, is it integral to, and which department heads can they. You know, sometimes they're so focused on one set piece too that there's really no point. Like, why read a 100-page script when this is my job?
This is what I'm doing. And
exactly.
you have that, but you to have that holistic, that macro and that micro.
Mm-hmm. I just
that's
realized it recently. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because speaking of Mission Impossible, we rewatched Dead Reckoning to watch Final Reckoning.
Oh yeah.
And so-
I'm going to see Final Reckoning
Oh my God, I'm
this
so
week.
excited
I'm
for you.
very excited.
Oh my God.
So says you.
Oh,
Says
me.
when you fit it in.
No, I canceled my daughter's dentist appointment.
Oh, you're committed. So you are going. Never mind.
Yes.
Let me know how it is.
look, her teeth are going to fall out and she's going to get adult teeth. So like,
No.
honestly,
They're
not
adult teeth
sweating.
already.
We're not
dang it.
sweating.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, that was my only argument. It's
No, it
great.
matters.
It's great.
Okay.
Highly recommend you watch Dead Reckoning if you can. If not, I can walk you
Halfway
through
through
it
it
in
right
an hour and a
now.
half. Oh,
Waiting for him to leave town so I can finish it
perfect.
in the evening. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, amazing. Okay, that's what happened to Francis, my partner. He could only watch the first half because he had an early call the next day.
Yeah.
So I knew he was driving back from the west side. And so he called me. We had a really late showing of Final Reckoning. He's like, let me give me a refresher of the second half of Dead Reckoning. And so I walked him through scene by scene. And it took me like 45 minutes.
Oh,
And you're able
because
to
you
do that
know it
off
all.
The top of your head,
yeah.
you're able to go scene by scene.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I didn't realize it until that moment. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
is this weird?
Yeah, I got all that. Well, I mean, I think to a point your brain is just trained
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah.
Trained on
think that's what it
sequences.
is, yeah.
So you
Does
can
your
do that.
life also, do you bring this skill into your life? Because we always say like so many wardrobe people that we show up like in sweatpants, and then we see hair people, show up
craziest
with like the
hair
craziest
or-
hair,
Yeah.
and then producers like we're all organized and everything, but then like our lives are a mess elsewhere. So do you carry script supervising into your life, or do you let
You
that
break
organization
everything down
go
into
when you?
eighths of a page.
Yes.
I do when I need the tools. So I do my financial budget as a zero balance budget every month, and I'll do a spreadsheet on that.
Yep.
When I look at a recipe, I'll read it once and know what's going on. Grocery store lists, I can make a whole list and I'll never look at it. So I just keep it all in my brain. So I just go through my kitchen, scan every cabinet, the whole fridge, and then I know what we're missing, what we're not missing.
Wow.
And I can walk myself. I think what it helps is the visualization. I can just walk back and look through, and I'll do all that.
Like a photographic
yeah.
memory?
I
I know, it
guess
sounds
a little
like
bit.
it.
yeah.
But then
Yeah.
you see watermelon and you're like, okay, watermelon orange, and then you're in the store and it's like, oh no, it's green.
Watermelon's blue. But yeah.
Oh my god, that would screw me up so bad. What do you find is the difference? Like, what's the main difference between like a feature film and like a series, for example? And then I
Great
brought up.
question.
I want to finish the sentence. I brought up Paul Rudd recently, and then but you just did Friendship.
Yeah.
With Paul Rudd, and was that shot here in LA or
No,
is that
New
East
York.
Coast? New York. Okay,
That's what got me into the New York Union because
Okay.
I ran into Andy DeYoung, the director, at the premiere of The Curse, and which I also did in New Mexico. And I'm like, Andy, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm shooting a feature. You got to be on it. It's in New York. And I'm like, sure, I can fly there. And he's like, you got to work as a local. Bye.
Yeah.
And I'm
Figure
like,
it out.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, let me go down that path because I've always wanted to have dual membership and I've always wanted to try that out. So I did all the things, called the union, went through all the channels, and I think I joined 2 weeks before.
Dang.
Yeah, it was a little tight, but I got to work on a really cool movie, and Paul Rudd is wonderful. Tim Robinson is wonderful. Kate Mara knows movies like the back of her hand. I'll say, hey, you're replacing this one word, but it's scripted as this. And she'll say, yeah, because in this scene, down the road, I say it here. And I was wondering, maybe I can switch it up here. And she's so dialed in.
wow.
So was everybody else. Tim was great. Paul was wonderful. But he was fun. But yeah, no. So it was really fun. That movie was a blast to make because the director is a really good friend of mine. The DP is a really good friend of mine. I know both of them from Pen 15. And
Okay.
yeah, I already know. So to get to your answer, the difference between features and TV, normally on a feature, I let the director be the stopgap with all of my continuity, where on a TV show, because the director changes every week, I will go to the actor directly, the actor directly, and I will give them the line update, stuff like that. And I will let the director know that that's my mode of operation. But because we're shooting so quickly on TV, it's 8 to 10 pages. In St. Dennis, they pre-light the entire hospital.
Oh, so you can just shoot wherever.
We shoot it so fast.
Yeah.
And it's just little magnetic Titan tubes that you stick up every once in a while. And so everything is done so quickly that I've had to pivot a little bit in how I do continuity with shows now. And comedy's pretty similar with that too because of ad-libs. But like on Friendship with a feature, I would go to the director and I would say, hey, this line or this scene ran 10 minutes in ad-libs and I just wrote down all the jokes.
I was going to say that movie must have been chock full of it, like every scene.
Yeah. But, the guys were really good with sticking to the script for the first couple of takes. And Andy's really, really good, the director, about getting what's on his script first.
Yeah.
And then he'll even say, like, if I change anything, I'll let you know. But I really want to, I wrote this stuff. I want my jokes in there. And so him and I and Tim would sit down and we would talk about the jokes and if we wanted to change anything, so we would all be on the same page. And then I'm, live typing as things are going. Now, he wouldn't call cut right away, which I think is really smart because then you get all those ad libs and we find stuff, especially the beginning moments with the mother-son is so interesting. Yeah. So we found that kind of on the day. There's another scene that's literally just completely ad-libbed because the comedian that they hired to play one of the character roles, he was so funny. They just let him talk. Like it's a 10-minute take, 12-minute take too. And you can kind of pick your moments, thinking about it now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say that to me is so manageable because you know the scene a little bit. And like I said, I rehearse the lines with the actors, so I'm memorizing the lines with them and I'm saying them with them. But then if at the end of the scene they're doing ad libs, my job is just to write those jokes down and make sure we can capture them in a turnaround.
Mm-hmm.
So,
obviously it says a lot that you work with these different people on different shows and they bring you on to their other things, and that's also why you rarely use your resume in this business because it's all about who you last worked with and, did you suck? Were you a jerk? Then bye. But if you're awesome and you do your job, then absolutely, And I think you came to us through a referral. I don't quite remember.
Probably
now.
Meg, right?
Probably Meg.
Yeah, she connects everybody.
So because we worked with you on Breakwater.
That's right.
Our
Yes.
Snapchat show that was shot down in Mexico.
Yes.
I was not able to go. I don't know, like my partner had been diagnosed with cancer and was having surgery. And so I wasn't able to go on set, but
It's hard.
You guys all had a great time.
Oh boy.
Oh my God. Well, it kind of goes back to like where I always feel bad because it's like the money just isn't there and you're trying to put it all on screen.
Yeah.
And so that's when you know kind of who your friends are, who the real, where they're down there, night shoots in the water, like you were, and with your whole equipment set, like walking up this dilapidated building, and I'm just like, as long as no one dies, I'll be happy. But like, you were game. It was always that smile on your face, and I'm like, God, that would not be me. So I'm always just so grateful, to meet those people, and you're like, any day of the week, any job.
Yeah, when you've been through it like that.
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
you got it. And hopefully the next one, you can get paid more.
Yeah.
And it won't be as ridiculous. Like I want it to be easier and you get paid more.
Yeah.
Right? That should be.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
I mean, everybody's
right?
going through stuff, right? So
Yeah.
you never know, like, your note. That's a hard part about my job, right? You never know how your note is going to be communicated and how it's going to be received.
Yes.
So a lot of times I'm leaning on my communication degree and I'm making sure, because an actor needs to hear the note. The director needs to hear the note.
Yes.
Yep.
And if it's 2 a.m. and you're like, oh, that's not, they have to say this phrase to open up the vault that releases the Fast and Furious car. Like, oh my God. Right? I can't wait for that to be in the next Fast. And they're not saying the phrase.
It's never going to work.
How do you get them to do it?
Yeah.
So I have a lot of kind of like helpful ways for actors to memorize stuff if they're not quite, if something's happening. I try to make sure that mentally they're okay and they feel safe. And just know that they have an ally. Same with the director. The director's getting, if I'm feeling like we're not getting the scene, I bet the director's feeling the same way.
Yeah.
So I try to always say like, hey, we're going to get it. Let me know what I can do to help you out. But we're going to get this. So it's positive we pronoun, stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, in most cases, the director's the least experienced person on set. Especially on a TV show, the crew's consistent. So it makes sense. You're the one talking to the actors. They know you.
Yeah.
They may or may not know the director.
And what people don't know is that often with a TV show, a new director comes in for either every episode or a block of episodes. There's new people that are in all the time.
Yes.
But you've honed in on the vocabulary. I mean, you should be directing.
I would love to be.
Yeah.
I ask a lot.
Really? Yeah. Well, TV's the good place to kind of.
That's why
throw
I'm
an
doing
episode.
it. Yeah. Hopefully, I'm on a TV show that goes to a season that'll allow for that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Something that
It's a long game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where the studio, everyone can be like, oh, yeah, we're season 5.
Yeah.
My nephew, bring him up.
Yeah.
He's always wanted to direct
Your
TV.
nephew. Hold on a second. What about me?
Exactly. you owe me. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been here.
Yeah.
So shifting gears just a little bit.
Sure.
I want to go back to, well, looking at our business right now.
Yes.
It's a weird time. There's a lot of people that are really struggling, really having trouble finding work, having trouble finding jobs, just feeling there's a lot of people leaving the business.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like there are just a lot of no's that people are hearing in places that they were expecting yes, or they used to have yes. And processing that and pushing through it is challenging. And some people don't necessarily have the tools for it. As somebody who has experienced loss and dark times and difficult times, you know, what do you do to push through when these things happen, or when you face adversity in a place that you haven't felt it before?
It's a really good question because it did happen to me when I graduated college, and I did hear a bunch of no's, and then I did quit because I didn't get anywhere. And then I will say, because of the life experiences, I realized betting on myself was the long-term goal for that. And knowing that I have skill sets to pivot also, because that's where it comes in, right? And when times get lean, you have to be able to make that side hustle work.
Yep.
So I guess that was always in the back of my head. Like, okay, I can always go back to copywriting or law clerking or Jamba Juice. I mean, I already memorized all those smoothies. So
Yeah.
And their colors.
yeah.
Which was born in San Luis Obispo, I think, right?
Yeah, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a Cal Poly. I love that you know that.
Yeah.
It was a Cal Poly senior project. But see, that's what I'm saying, is there's a certain levity that you have to have too with hearing the no's.
Yeah.
You know, there's also something, if you know your craft super well and you're still getting a bunch of no's, maybe there's something you can do either in a pivot in the same film industry world, or there's a pivot where you can use those skills. I'm always trying to learn something from the productions, you know?
Yeah. Do you think that having the loss and the dark times that you did give you a different perspective for the jobs that you take now and how you work?
It definitely gave me it could always be worse type of feeling. Whenever I'm really stressed on set, and I mean like super stressed where I cry in my car at night.
Yeah. Ooh.
You know, because it's just been a high pressure cooker day.
Yeah.
I'm still not as sad as I was in my previous life.
Sure.
Like going through loss taught me that. And I guess that also made me realize not to take it too seriously and to know that there is always another chapter you can open up in your life.
Yeah.
Because I've just gone through a couple now that I'm like, you know, if I'm hearing a bunch of no's, if this doesn't work out, if everything implodes tomorrow and AI takes over our jobs, like that'd be a really big bummer. But I have the tools to recover now, and I'll find a way. I'll make it work.
And move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's important.
I know I've done it. I've pulled up myself out before. I think I can do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was dark. Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry that you went through
But
that.
I know you can.
Thank you.
I mean, just knowing you, and also it seems like you're constantly working.
I'm very lucky.
Yeah.
Very lucky that I am finding work. I have had some slow months, but I've been able to pay all my bills, and that's what I look for.
Zero out that budget.
Zero balanced budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sorry, real quick. I keep interrupting you.
I don't know why.
Well, I was just going to say, but also your partner is also in the business.
Yes.
Because one of my things would be like, well.
And then he just continues. He's like, I'm so sorry to interrupt you. And then he just
Sorry,
keeps
not sorry.
Oh.
Here we go. Because I always go, well, also helps if you're paired up with someone who's not in the business. Maybe has some like a stable
what does he do?
My partner is a gaffer.
Okay.
Oh, he is in the business.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I did I married someone who wasn't in the business.
Yes.
That was hard to explain.
Yeah.
It obviously, when I pivoted, he was like, yeah, office job, that makes sense. So that I prefer being with my
but I
somebody.
always wonder because you're on different jobs, your schedules are crazy.
Oh yeah, no, that's a
like,
really good question. Our
just
schedules are
finding-
totally opposite.
Yeah.
But I do think that is really a cool element of our relationship because we are very hyper independent people. And so it leaves us the space to pursue our careers, pursue these passions that we have, and then get to hang out at the end of the
When
day.
you both understand what
Yes.
you're dealing with. It's not like, I don't get your job. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Where are you gone?
It's so much nicer.
You don't have to explain
dating
it.
somebody in the industry.
They understand.
Exactly. Yeah. And he's phenomenal phenomenal gaffer.
Yeah.
And he just understands, he also understands continuity, and he's helped me understand lighting and just these different dynamics working, because he mainly works for the DP while I mainly work for the director. So I do feel like our shared experiences or our experiences shared after work give us this education to kind of like fill out all the other roles, or at least a couple of extra roles. And I absolutely love that he gets it too. It's but yeah, it's hard. Long distance is hard sometimes when he's got a job in Canada or the Midwest or stuff like that.
Sure.
And he does travel. I guess with New York, I travel a little bit more too. But we do make it work. We try to talk to each other every day, and we try to just check in and see what's going on. And if he's working a lot, then I try to make sure he's got everything at home that he needs, and vice versa. So we always try to support ourselves that way. And if we're both working, then we hire a cleaner, and we hire, we get takeout, and we spend a little bit more on that, because we don't want to, we know our stressors, and we know, we just want to make sure the other person's taken care of, I guess, in that sense. But yeah, it's funny because I never thought of it as anything else really differently, because we had such a good communication right when we started dating. And I told him, I want to focus on my career. This is my second shot at it. I gotta do it. I just paid a bunch of money to get retrained. And he's like, great, I want to do the same thing. I really want to focus on my career. So I think that left the door open for communication in that sense.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. I want you to give out your Instagram, just because if you want to see someone that is working on all kinds of cool projects and also looks like she's having the best time while doing it.
I want to say something.
Yes.
And I'm going to cut you off.
Oh.
No, but I've heard so much about you, and we've never met before,
That's
like
crazy.
until today. And Tanner has just always described you as just like, oh man, she's just this like bright light, on set. And it just makes you happy to see her. And
I'm usually depressed on set. And I need that.
Well, maybe on Breakwater you were.
Yeah, I think Breakwater.
But you do. You bring this lightness into a room and just a joy, and you can just tell that you love what you do.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful and refreshing. And
Thank you.
yeah.
Well,
Thank
that's
you
so
for
kind.
sharing it.
Is the
Thank you.
truth. It's not not fake. It's legit. And so
Thank you.
I look on it.
So what is your Instagram? You can say
Scripty Hannah.
Scripty Hannah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Check it out. She's either eating a hot dog
Or with my cat,
or at your little booth somewhere.
Yes.
Whatever corner they found room for you to sit in, and you're just happy as a clam.
Oh, I absolutely love my job, and I love continuity, and I love making movies, and it's so fun.
Yeah.
It's like, I think that's why, thank you for the compliments. They were so kind. And I do think that that's why I enjoy my job so much, is because I surround myself with people that are like you guys, very gracious, and just, you try to foster such a good experience on set. So many times people don't do that. Producers don't ever do that.
Thank you.
That's why I'll keep saying yes.
It's like that's like the
Yes.
least we can do, right? Is
I mean, you'd be
people-
surprised.
I know. I know.
I work with a lot of really good producers, but there's always that experience that stands out to you. It just takes one.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank
we
you.
really appreciate it. We don't take it for granted. You came in here and
yeah.
just shot the shit with us, and we really appreciate it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hey listeners, if you've got a burning question for Chris, Tanner, or one of our amazing guests, we want to hear from you. Slide into our DMs at Eyes On Podcast on Instagram, and we might just answer your question on our season finale wrap-up episode. Thank you so much for listening to Eyes On Conversations with Hollywood Filmmakers. Eyes On is hosted by Chris Hanada and Tanner Kling and produced by Simran Porwal Johnson and Jonathan Misrahi. The views, opinions, and comments expressed by guests on this podcast are their own and do not necessarily represent the views or opinions of Retrofit Films. This podcast may include copyrighted material used under fair use provisions. All copyrighted material remains the property of their respective owners.